All right. So, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining in to our COVID update. Today, as always, we're joined by Alan Adams, the founder and president of Nabazon Inc., and David Ruff, a senior account manager here at Nabazon. Both Alan and Dave have extensive Amazon experience, and they will be guiding us through the updates that they've come across. So, I will move it over to Alan.
Thank you, Patrick. If we can move to the next slide, please. These are the topics that we'll cover each week to make sure that we give you the high-level impact that COVID-19 has had on Amazon, to give you the broad view of Amazon, then its impact that we're seeing on Amazon vendors, as well as Amazon's crisis responses and actions to consider so that you can best drive your business moving forward. At the end, we'll have some time for questions and answers. Big changes this week for a lot of states across the United States and around the world. There's been phased reopening starting this week, it seems, and some states possibly a little bit earlier. This is what it looks like in Seattle. This is a famous fish market down in Pike's Place Market. You can see that they have a sign there roughly in the middle that says they are open, but they are enforcing social distancing, and there's a security officer actually there that's checking in with them as well. The McDonald's on the right is in downtown Seattle, and you can see that it's still boarded up. There's a different experience with people across the country and across the world right now. Some economies and states are opening faster, and some are a little bit slower. We'll continue to see, I think, elevated Amazon business, because one of the only places for people to buy is online at Amazon. And this is a slight indication of the Gap store. On the right is the picture from last week. On the left of the larger picture is the picture from this week, and you can just see a slight change to Gap's door there. They have a notice that they're giving people online pickups, and they're taking some deliveries as well. So business is not normal yet, but retail stores are starting to think about how they might reopen here in Seattle and across the country. They're different. So what does this mean for Amazon? Well, Amazon began expanding its shipments, as we know, non-essential items the week of April 13th. Now, though, as of May 5th, we're seeing that orders reflect customer sales. So orders remain elevated for the COVID spike accounts, such as personal protective equipment or hand sanitizers. However, orders are aligning with customer sales overall. So if Amazon's selling products, it's now buying more. It continues to buy more of those products, and that is somewhat of a normal for Amazon in terms of reacting to what it's forecasting. Specifically within grocery, we're seeing it remains elevated because it has additional customers. They saw a 60% increase in their grocery business, and it remains elevated because people don't want to leave their homes in some cases, and in other cases, feel like that the grocery business right now is best at either the Whole Foods or at an Amazon. Stay-at-home goods are another place that we continue to see some elevation in purchasing, such as home office supplies, as people continue to work at home. One area that remains depressed is if you think about group or public or community activity products, such as swimwear. We have seen an across-the-board pickup in purchase orders even in that category, but it's somewhat depressed, and that we can think about schools. Many schools around the country are starting to be canceled for the year. People are unable to get into pools, so some activities remain depressed. We had some news media and others that mentioned there was a stimulus bump on April 14th. I don't believe that was the case. I think that was really Amazon resuming sales of non-essential goods and also allowing third parties to increase their sales too, in terms of boosting their inventory levels. Big news in Amazon's quarterly report that was just released for Q1 last week was that Amazon will spend $4 billion or more on COVID-related costs in this second quarter alone. They're spending hundreds of millions of dollars to develop COVID testing capabilities and enhance the cleaning of their facilities. So they literally want to develop the testing capabilities themselves, and are spending hundreds of millions of dollars to do that. They also continue to pay higher wages, and they've purchased or bought more than 100 million masks already. As the states begin a phased reopening of their economies, again, Amazon remains one of the few options that's fully open. One of the things that Amazon has done during this period is it's increasing Prime marketing. Last week we mentioned that it's been reported over 118 million Prime customers in the U.S. alone. Well, Amazon is increasing its marketing and the benefits that people get because more people are searching its pages. Such things as movies going direct to pay-per-view on Amazon because theaters are closed, that's increased. And Amazon's made a lot of Prime Video kid and family content available for free. It's reducing its advertising spend on things like Facebook or Google due to high traffic. And the pictures here depict that Amazon's giving students, Medicaid card holders, and individuals that receive food benefits, that they save 50% on that Prime membership. In addition, on the right-hand image, it says that Amazon's giving up to 50% off of some videos that are sometimes at a cost. So Amazon's reaching out to more and more people and making Prime even more valuable as it's had the traffic. This, as we reported on April 21st, was Amazon reduced. The green areas that are highlighted shows the significant reductions in Amazon spending to drive traffic to its own site. For example, in home improvement, lawn and garden, pets products, and pantry, Amazon used to pay affiliates 8% to drive traffic to its site, and now it's lowered that to 3%. Amazon's realizing that the traffic is there, they don't need to pay as much for it. And they actually needed to dampen traffic is what they mentioned because they had too much at one point. I had mentioned last week that one indicator just on the periphery that we're watching is Amazon Books 4-star and pop-up stores as well as their Go stores that are temporarily closed until May 16th is what the report was. We're watching these non-core businesses come back online because it suggests to us that Amazon is normalizing its internal business processes. The pop-up store on the left-hand side did mention that it's temporarily closed. The lights have been turned back on it, and some employees are inside. An Amazon Go store in downtown Seattle is just opening today and restocking its shelves. So they're even coming back before the May 16th date. And you can see Amazon's adapted its procedures internally in that image on the right-hand side, and that they're asking people for their safety to follow a one-way aisle shopping plan to maximize social distancing in the store. As we have more and more stores come back, we'll probably see an increasing number of these innovations that people ask for as we navigate these next couple of weeks. As it's bringing back its businesses, it is very conscious of its employees. They have added $2 additional per hour and double overtime for hourly workers until May 16th. On May 1st, Amazon said employees must start reporting to work or request leave. So we are seeing employees start to return to the Seattle headquarters. It seems as though not everybody is. The downtown is not packed, so I think headquarters staff probably has a lot of leeway there yet. And then May 1st, there was last Friday on International Workers' Day, there was a car rally around Amazon's Seattle headquarters to rally for employee safety. It was really a huge to-do in the news. There's been an individual, a vice president of Amazon, that said he resigned because of the conditions. That individual, it's still unclear around his resignation, what he says versus internally in the company, but it's still a relatively small number of people. They said there was less than 100 people that have been involved in those type of activities, although it's gotten an enormous amount of media attention. Internationally, there has been an impact to vendors in that Amazon has extended its French warehouse closures until May 8th. Goods are still available through dropship and other European FCs, though, so Amazon, I think, is not feeling a large bite from that, nor are customers in Europe. Another large thing internationally for Amazon is that Amazon India is resuming deliveries in green and orange designated zones in the country. These are areas that have a lower risk or lower infection rate. There are areas that they cannot go into in terms of red areas. So this is another indication that the world is resuming sales and also trying to figure out a way to get the economies back up and running. Also, for the Amazon customer, the delayed delivery messaging that we had highlighted here on a slide last week, we've seen has been dropped. And Amazon is in its call or meeting notes last week for its quarterly earnings results, did mention that it projects to be back to one-day shipping for Prime members sometime in Q2 or Q3. We have seen that messaging drop, however, so they may be getting very close to that. That'll be good for their business and good for their customers. So it seems on a lot of fronts, Amazon is catching up to the surge that it was seeing and also getting its operations internally back to normal, as well as getting purchase orders to a level to be able to deliver on those customer demands.
In terms of what we're seeing within Vendor Central, for Prime Day deals, Amazon is accepting submissions for those in some categories. Even if you're not a category where they're accepting vendor-submitted Prime Day deals, the recommended deals should still be available. If you go into Vendor Central and then you go into promotions, you'll see there where you can schedule them, or you can go to the recommended section. Those recommended sections will have Prime Day deals that you now can submit. And the submission date for those have been extended as well. So it's been moved from May 8th to now June 5th in order to submit those deals. As Al mentioned, the surge in purchase orders that we've seen in the past since COVID-19 are now dropping to reflect customer sales. We are seeing some purchase orders where they're catching up essentially. So if you were in a category that Amazon considered non-essential, your POs might have been lower during the COVID-19 or the height of the COVID-19 crisis. Now that we are coming out of that, those purchase orders in those categories, Amazon is elevating basically to try and catch up to the lower POs that they've had in the past, and trying to get it back on track now to reflect what they're actually seeing within those consumer sales. Dropship orders, this is actually one of the reasons we can tell. Dropship orders are still high in those categories. We're seeing dropship orders sometimes as high as 25% of normal volume. And normally what Amazon tries to have that zero, basically, you're only reflecting what the demand spikes that Amazon has. So that's an indication there where the POs have not yet caught up to where they should be just yet. Amazon's also extended the waivers that they have on chargebacks. So for on-time non-compliance, that has now been changed. Originally, it was going to end here on May 1st. It's now going all the way till May 31st. That is still for not on time and down confirmed chargebacks. Again, what we would tell you to do is if you're getting any purchase orders now and you're still having trouble keeping up with the demand or any operational problems, we would tell you to accept everything that you possibly can, and then just make sure you're going and down confirming those if you decide that you're not able to ship that. And you can ship those POs late as well if you need to. Or if you're having people come pick them up, you can have your routing dates, your pickup date for that in the future outside the normal window for those POs. There's no need to open up a ticket on those at all and let Amazon know. Same thing for SIOC. SIOC's also been waived until May 31st. It is still only in select categories: baby, beauty, grocery, and then health and personal care. Amazon Fresh, so originally they were stopping new Fresh customers from coming on. They're now allowing new Fresh customers, but it's only for customers that have existing Prime accounts. Amazon actually is encouraging those who want to shop on Fresh but cannot right now. They're telling them to go actually to the Whole Foods Market store. In terms of forecasting, we're still seeing that, or we still believe that the current impacts right now, we would estimate that everything should go back to normal by the end of May, and then your forecast on Amazon should stabilize. Again, that is basically because what we're seeing right now within your purchase orders and your consumer demand. As I mentioned earlier, POs are still high in some categories, so be careful there. If you're trying to forecast for the future, I would look at your consumer sales and basically go off that in order to figure out what Amazon's going to order. If your POs have not reached what your consumer sales have been in the past, or they're extremely elevated in comparison, just expect those to start going down to a normal level where they're only going to be slightly elevated in comparison to your consumer sales that Amazon's buying up for the future, and that should stabilize by the end of May. In terms of promotions, so the Gold Box page is still removed from Amazon.com. It is available on Amazon Business, so if it's a business customer, they do have access to that, and they can see all the business deals that are currently running. So this is just another highlight there that if you're not running business level discounts, you may want to do that in order to put those available to those consumers. Price discounts and promo codes still remain active, so you can still use those to try and get consumers interested in your products. As I mentioned earlier, the Prime Day deals can be scheduled in some categories, and you can also accept now the suggested Prime Day ones. You have until June 5th in order to do that. Major events, Prime Day is still delayed. We have not heard an actual date just yet, but still expected to be in August. We were getting automated emails still being sent out that Prime Day was going to happen here on time, but those look like they have now stopped. And then category events for May have been canceled. We have not heard anything yet about June category events. We'll update that if anything does change.
All right. At this time, we'll open it up to questions and answers. So if you do have any questions, feel free to unmute your microphone and ask a question, or you can type a question into the chat bar if you would like. Let's see. One of the questions that we did get was, do you have any updates on Prime Day and when you think that might be?
So we've asked this across several different buyers. Just had a conversation last week with one on Friday. They internally still have not decided when Prime Day will be. At least they haven't told any employees that they have yet. As soon as we get that information, we'll get it out in an update.
Okay. Cool. Another question that we had, Amazon's been sending a lot of compliance document requests. Is there anywhere in Vendor Central where you can go that will give you a list of products that need compliance documents?
Dave, you want to take that? I think you mentioned that last week, possibly.
Yeah, so the ones for the COVID-19, if they're getting suppressed for that, they're not actually listing those within the compliance section. But for anything else that might be getting suppressed, if you're not looking at this already, you can go within your Vendor Central account, it would be under items, then it would be under vendor certificates, and then from there it'll have a list of your missing compliance documents, what's been rejected, et cetera. You can go in there and you can submit those. Be aware that it will have compliance document requests for products that have been discontinued.
Okay, thanks, Dave. And then this question, it looks like, was for Alan. Is there anything that your company has implemented to improve communication during work from home?
Great question. Work from home has brought a lot of different opportunities and challenges. One thing that we found really helpful is that we have a team meeting every morning, and we have a check-in in the afternoon as well. It gives us an opportunity to have an open dialogue across our team. There's so many changes we can see in Amazon just across 1 week span that we're keeping current across the team on a daily basis and sharing that information so that we can deliver it to our client accounts as quickly as possible. There's so much changing right now.
Excellent. Thank you, Alan. Let's see, is there anyone else have a question? All right. Well,
the current crisis has really injected a lot of volatility into where our normal business life is like. We expect Amazon to continue to make shifts, and we're here to help everyone with those shifts and to bring you the updates as quickly as possible. We are developing new capabilities each and every day to make sure that we're able to respond to the new challenges that Amazon brings. The weekly call that will continue until we see these change significantly drop off. We'll cross operations, purchase orders, and chargebacks because we see that those continue to have significant updates every week, as well as monitoring your sales and POs and weeks of cover. As the consumer has been shifting online and advertising differences require our adapting to. So we're going to bring you new tactics and strategies each week across your accounts and new tools. And we appreciate everyone's business, and we want to make sure that we're arming you with not only the best information, but the best knowledge moving forward. If there's any time that you have a question for us, always feel free to reach out to our team.
Excellent. Thank you, Alan. A recording of this presentation and the slide deck will be available on our website, amazonconsulting.com. So feel free to log into there and download the slides or view the video. Thank you for joining today, and have a good rest of your day.